Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS. Guys, today we are going to start high yielding topics for Indian polity, right? You all have been seeing HYT series of other subjects, but from today we are going to start with a new subject. Now, in order to understand how to take the maximum benefit of this series, what you need to do? Okay, you'll have to attend every lecture because these videos are very well researched based on what UPSC is asking repeatedly, what type of questions are being asked, and how do you need to understand each topic. Okay, say for example, UPSC is asking 3 to 4 types of questions when we talk about Indian polity. The first kind of question is there are 2 to 3 or maybe maximum 4 questions which are purely conceptual. Okay, and even if you have read your standard material entirely, in the examination you will be left clueless that okay, what is the answer to this one? Everything looks correct to me. So this is important for securing those 3 to 4 questions. Then there are questions wherein the factual and the conceptual parts are blended, and you will have a tough time guessing the answer. Third type of questions would be wherein static and current affairs things are mixed up, and the fourth kind of questions would be purely current affairs based. So in this series we are going to cover everything. Okay, we are going to do terminologies which are important, like couple of years ago there was this question about police custody and judicial custody. Then we have been having questions on these kind of terms a lot, right? Difference between payroll and furlough kind of things which we generally don't read. We will be covering all these things. We will be covering important articles and dimensions of those articles related to your UPSC CSE preliminary exams of 2023. Along with this, we will be doing cases, judgments. We will be looking at your static portion also, that what are the important topics amongst these topics which have a higher probability of being asked in the examination. Okay, and we are going to get you ready for your UPSC CSE preliminary exam of 2023. So I just want to show you one more thing before we start. On our Sunya website, we have crash course of Indian polity. So if you are having a tough time understanding this subject, what you should do is you can subscribe to this. It is available at a very minimal cost, and you will have great conceptual clarity, plus remembering things will be easier for you. You can access it at a very negligible rate on our website. It covers Indian polity in 20 to 25 hours comprehensively. These are the static revision notes that you can use. These are made from NCERT's NIOS and our standard reference book that we all refer. So this is very quick for your revision. This book contains less than 150 pages. So what happens is you can revise the entire book in one day, and more the number of revisions, higher is the probability of you remembering and recalling the same thing in your examination. Now today's class we are going to start with the basics. Okay, if your concepts are firm in polity, out of the 17 to 18 questions that are asked, you will be able to do 15 to 16 questions correctly. Yes. So let's start with a few concepts that UPSC asks all the time, but the options are so confusing that we get confused, and also because we don't have conceptual clarity on the same. So let us see the first topic that we are going to do. Now UPSC has asked these questions a couple of times in the last 2 to 3 years. What is a state? Okay, we are all studying polity and we are using the word state numerous times, but do we really understand what is the definition of a state? No. So let me just take you to the very basic start of your preparation for Indian polity. What is basically a state? How can you define a state? So this definition will have 3 components. So whenever you look at the options in the examination, you will have to remember these 3 pillars of the definition. The first thing is a definite political entity. There has to be a definite political entity, okay, which should have occupied a definite territory, like India. we are a political identity and we occupy a definite territory. There is a third component which is very important, wherein people come together for two purposes. What two purposes are people coming together for? For resisting external aggression and preservation of internal order. So the definition of state, this question has been asked at least 2 to 3 times in your UPSC CSE preliminary exam, and the options are so similar that you get confused. But if you know the concept from such basic level, you will never be confused with this kind of a definition. So today we are going to do 3-4 more concepts, which is going to bring great clarity in your preparation. And every day we are going to bring up new topics. Right, we will do articles, we will do lot of things, as I told you, judgments, cases, provisions, terminologies, acts, bills, etc., etc., etc. So now let us just revise again. What is a state? A political identity, okay, which occupies a definite territory. And the third thing is where people come together for two purposes: for resisting external aggression and maintaining internal law and order. Now think about India. Yes, we are an entity, we occupy a physical territory, and we all come together for what purpose? External aggression and internal law and order, right? Very similar. Whatever the form of government there will be doesn't matter, but whenever we talk about a state, okay, this will be the difference. Now there are a lot of students who ask me one question: ma'am, what is the difference between nation and a state? Okay, state is a political entity, okay, and when I talk about a nation, okay, what will be the difference? There's a negligible difference. The feeling of nationalism, remember, we all feel the feeling of nationalism. So when people having similar backgrounds, similar ideologies come together, we call it a nation. There's a very minute difference. Okay, a lot of times there's this question is discussed in the foundation class, and it is explained in depth, but if I want to tell you in a nutshell, then this is the difference. Okay, so we're done with two things. What is a state? Very important, guys. Whenever UPSC is asking this question, lot of people are not able to answer, but now you will be able to answer the question. Okay, now there are two more things. What is a constitution and what is constitutionalism? Are these two things same or they are different? So constitution is what? It is a set of laws that are fundamental. Okay, it will define how the country will be governed, how will, what rights will the people have. So it is a document which contains set of laws. Okay, so can I say that any country who has a constitution will follow constitutionalism? No, you cannot say that. Why? Because the concept is a little bit different. Now, whenever the government or the nation or the state, what word should we use? When the government, okay, or when the country is run based on the principles of the constitution, and there are limitations placed on various organs of the government, we call it constitutionalism. Okay, so constitutionalism, basically, what does it do? It connotes a limited government wherein the powers of the government are limited. Now let's get an example. Say for example, there's a country, okay, which has a constitution, and the ruler of that country is a dictator. Okay, and that person keeps on rolling out any law that comes to his or her mind. So do you think that country, in spite of having a constitution, is following the doctrine of constitutionalism? No. Okay, so if a country has constitution, it is not necessary that country is following constitutionalism. Basically, whenever you see the options in the what is constitution question, you will have to select the option wherein, you know, the basic idea is limitations on the power of the government, okay, and adherence to the constitution. Very important and very simple, equally important, equally simple. ठीक है? Let's go on to the next concept. Now here we have a very simple concept. It's called liberty, right? Now a lot of us are confused between the word liberty and freedom. Okay, so what is the difference? There's a minute difference. Okay, so when I talk about liberty, it means that there will be no constraints. Okay, there will be no constraints and I will be able to act in any way that I like. What? There will be no constraints and I will be able to act in any way that I like. Okay. Now when I talk about freedom, it means that I will have the right to think, express and behave as an act the way I want. Now there have been questions asked about the concept of liberty as well. So now we have understood the minuscule difference. What is the definition of liberty? To any layman, to you or me or any other person, liberty means to be able to do what we want, right? But this is just one dimension of liberty. Right, it means that absence of restraints on activities of individuals. See here also, we are emphasizing on activities. When we say freedom of thought, expression and speech, we use the word freedom. When we talk about activity, it's a very minuscule difference. But before going to the examination, we should know these small differences. Here, this is a newly developed understanding of the word liberty. It says that not having constraints is not liberty, is not justified as liberty, but if we are providing opportunities for the development of individual, okay, then also it is a part of the concept of liberty. Now say for example, you are answering a question. There's a question about which of the following indicates liberty in a better way or expresses, and if these two options are there, then you should go with this option. This, okay, the classic liberals, the political scientists, or the thinkers that we study in every optional, the classical ones, the ones when the discipline originated, they defined it as absence of restraint. But the the newer class, the neoliberals, they said that not just absence of restraints but providing opportunity, okay, to an individual for development of his or her personality is a more powerful and a better concept of liberty. In our constitution, where is liberty mentioned? We have the fundamental rights, and the preamble also guarantees liberty of what? TEDWF: thought, expression, belief, worship and faith. Okay. So these small mnemonics also you can memorize. Why? Because if there's a question that which kind of liberty does the preamble of India guarantee, and there are options, then you should be very easily able to figure out what is the text of the Indian Constitution. So the preamble and the fundamental rights, they both indicate, and it is in the Constitution. Okay. Now when we talk about liberty, okay, or certain now just we mentioned about the fundamental rights. So let us understand what are fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are again what? Something that gives me as an individual power to do whatever I feel like, right? It is the absence of restraint, and it will be putting restraint on the state to infringe in my own liberty or the freedom that I am having to develop my personality. Okay, now if we talk about Britain, right, Britain does not have these kind of values. The parliament in India is prohibited to form certain laws which is going to infringe the fundamental rights or the basic structure of the Indian constitution. But in Britain, there is no concept as we have. We adopted the fundamental rights thing from where? From the Bill of Rights of USA. But in Britain, a similar document is not adopted and there is no concept. The parliament is supreme. They work on the concept of sovereignty of the parliament, and the parliament has the right to take away any basic right of liberty or equality of the citizens, wherein our constitution guarantees the right of liberty, right, certain types of freedoms. Which articles? From article number 19 to article number 22. Okay, very simple. But in our constitution, these are not absolute. What do you mean by not absolute? There will always be reasonable restrictions on the liberties that you are getting. Okay. Now, here it is written already, but I just gave you a short form of how you can remember it. And article 19, these articles will do in detail when we do the high yielding topics mein article wala lecture. Today we are touch basing the basic concepts so that when we elaborate these in other sections, you will have a clear idea. Plus, if UPSC is asking it in very crude raw form, you will be able to choose the correct option. Now we will talk about another concept called equality, right? Now we all know what is equality. Now let us discuss something else. Equality versus equity, right? We all know what is equality. Okay, if you have say 10 rotis, okay, 10 chapatis, and there are 10 people standing in front of you, you're going to distribute one chapati to everyone. But amongst these 10 people, there are 2 people who have already had their lunch and they are full and they don't need it. And amongst them, there are 3 people who have been starving since last 4 days. They haven't had a bite of food since last 4 days. But you're giving them also one chapati and you're giving one chapati to the person who's full. This is called equality. But what is equity? When you have 10 chapatis and 10 people in front of you, but 2 of them have had their lunch and they're full, so you're not giving any chapati to them, but you're giving extra chapati to people who have been starving on their behalf. Okay, then this principle is known as equity. Right, it is also known as positive discrimination if we look at it from another angle. Now I'm giving you simple examples. I will always give you simple examples from your daily life. A very good example of this is, there's a drawing that this is a wall, there's a cricket match going on over here and 4 people are trying to watch. One of them is this much height, another is this much, another is this much, and we are giving equal platform to everyone to stand. Whereas this person needs this huge platform, this one needs this much, and this one doesn't need a platform, right? So these are the various examples by which you understand these concepts very easily. So we will always discuss examples from your personal life so that you can understand the concepts better. Okay. Now what is equality? In like we did a daily life example. Now let's look at it from a study perspective. Equality means that, amongst the people, the citizens, everyone is equal. There is no one who is more important, who is privileged. Okay. After that, we will be providing adequate opportunities for everyone. Right. That is also one concept of equality. Right. Equal opportunity. Our preamble guarantees equality, like it guaranteed freedom. Okay. Sorry, liberty. Equality of status and opportunity. Then in our fundamental rights from article 14 to 18, we are guaranteeing equality amongst the citizens. Okay, that is very, very, very simple. Now, when we talk about equality as a concept, our constitution, so the preamble and part 3, that is the fundamental rights, those both of them are talking about providing equality to the citizens. Now, the constitution has 3 dimensions to it: civic equality, political equality, and economic equality. We will elaborate these when we do these particular sections of DPSP's fundamental rights and other things. Let us go on to the next section. Very easy one. Fraternity. What does fraternity mean? It's a sense of brotherhood. Okay, this word we can find in our preamble. So what does this necessarily mean? It means that there should be a sense of brotherhood amongst the citizens, and the state has to work towards it. Okay, now how will it happen? When everyone is treated in an equal way, right? That is one dimension to it. Now, if everyone is treated equally, if everyone's integrity, dignity and integrity is intact, then everyone is going to feel that, okay, this person is a citizen of India and that is why he or she is equal to my brother. Okay, now I'll just give you a small example from a daily life. Again, if you go to a class, we have all been to school and colleges, right? If a section of students are made to sit on a bench, and another section are made to sit on the floor, and the third section are asked to sit outside the classroom, will you develop a sense of brotherhood for everyone? No. Maintaining the dignity of every individual by treating them equally, by giving them equal rights, will ensure that we have brotherhood amongst those citizens. This works as a touchstone of democracy across various democratic constitutions in the world. Article 51A says that this is our duty. Article 51A is fundamental duties. It is enshrined in part 4 and added by the 42nd constitutional amendment. And yes guys, we're going to do important amendments as well. So here, how does the Indian Constitution manifest the concept of fraternity? We have single citizenship, we have a fundamental duty, these two things, and the right to equality. All these will result into fraternity amongst each other. Now, the last concept for today, that is sovereignty. What is sovereignty? It means that we, as a state, are free to take our internal and external decisions, and we won't have to ask anyone for making any choice, right? So this sounds too complicated to me, at least me. So let's simplify it. When we annulled 370, right, we just made Jammu and Kashmir, we just converted the state into 2 union territories. Then what happened? There was a lot of internal criticism, and to that we answered that we are a sovereign nation and we have the right to take our internal decisions, and no other nation has the right to intervene. So we can make our own internal decisions as well as external decisions on how to deal with other countries. Okay, another example of dealing with other countries in case of war. If USA is putting sanctions on Iran, but still we will have our own choice whether to import oil or not from there, whether to have relations with them or not. Okay, so we are not a dominion of other nation. We are a nation itself. We are not a sub-nation kind of a thing. And what do we mean by popular sovereignty? Popular sovereignty means that the power is in hands of the people. People are the sovereign. The supreme power lies in the hands of people. So are we popular sovereign? Yes, we are. how we vote, we elect the people, our representatives who go and sit in the legislative body, the parliament, and the SLA, state legislative assemblies. Those people in turn indirectly elect the president, and all the executive action is taken by the hand and seal of the president, and the legislative acts are done by the people we have chosen. So ultimately the power lies in our hands. Okay, now becoming a member of UN or Commonwealth will not affect India's sovereignty. What is Commonwealth? It is a group of nations that got freedom from the British Crown. So we joined the Commonwealth to have a connection with other nations with similar history, similar background. UN also we have joined. It does not mean that we have lost our sovereignty. We are still free to take our internal and external decisions. Okay, last one now. Again, republic. What is a republic? Generally, whenever this republic term pops up, we just say one thing, that we will have an elected head, and the office of the head of the state will be open for everyone. But there is a third dimension to it which we usually forget. And if there is a question that which of the following statements describes the concept of republic, we will not take this statement and we will fall in the trap. So let us just emphasize on this statement. Political sovereignty lies in the hand of the people and not any single individual. I just explained you, we vote in the elections, we elect our representatives, they sit in the state legislative assembly and the parliament, and both of them, they combine together, elect the head of the country. So the ultimate sovereign are the people. That is what republic also means. है ना? Very, very, very simple. Democracy, a very basic thing. Now tell me one thing. What is the cornerstone of democracy? Like the most basic concept of democracy. Free and fair elections. Okay. Democracy means that, like it is a very famous quote we have been saying since childhood, of the people, by the people, for the people. It means that again, people are the sovereign. There is no one above people. And it is, the cornerstone is, how are people going to run the country? By free and fair elections. So free and fair elections are pivotal to a democracy. The final decision-making power will rest with the people who are elected by, will lie with the representatives elected by the people. It also means that every adult, should have equal value of vote. Right? It cannot be, unequal based on any notion, on gender, maybe on socio-economic conditions or any reason. One person, one vote has to be the mandate if it's a democracy. Democracy also means that the rights of the people are protected from the tyranny of the government. Okay, basic rights the state should respect, and power should be vested in institutions and exercised according to the procedures. Okay, in the upcoming video we are going to talk about lot of more things. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Do like this video, subscribe to our channel, and keep on coming back for more such videos, because this series is going to be a game changer for your UPSC CSE 2023 examinations. Thank you.